Hi ATEEZ Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet. Today we are checking out ATEEZ Wave. However, I have been informed by a patron that I need to check out Crescent first. It is apparently an interlude of some kind that connects Illusion and Wave. I don't know, I am just listening. I'm deciding that you know better than me. So I'm going to be checking out Crescent first, and then we'll be checking out Wave, lyrics, then music video, okay? And if you ever want to join my Patreon, it's always linked down in the description. People get early access to all of the ATEEZ reactions that I do, and I'm also starting to post live performance reactions over there. I only have Pirate King debut stage over there right now, but there will be more as I devote my life to a group of Korean men that don't know I exist again. Anyway, let's start with Crescent. Let's see what this interlude is.
Open your eyes.
Do not whisper at me. Generally. It's like ambient noise. Ooh, wait. Okay, I know I'm interrupting, but it's like ambient, but it's like cutting in and out, and it sounds like a car. We had the car at the end of Illusion, which I'm going to say before we get into the video, I do think it's Yuna because of the thumbnail for Wave. And it just makes sense to me lore-wise. Anyway, but it almost sounds like a car driving, but also kind of like a radio going in and out, like a radio signal.
Open your eyes.
Well, whose voice is that? And why is there a ticking noise? And like the breath. Oh, we're almost at the end. Okay. Ooh, okay. Interesting to have a different voice in there, going from like the whisper into something else. So it's like this more like tentative sound into something else, but then also a voice that isn't your own, which I think is interesting, going after like Illusion and then having again like the breath, but it was also felt like it was cutting out like the signal, right? Like it was coming in and out of being able to hear it. It wasn't like this continuous sound. And then of course like having the waves, we had, what was it, Mingy who was near the waves, he had like headphones on. I know I'm probably gonna get answers for all of this when I actually get into the music video. I just want to put all my thoughts out there before I do, because I want to not have moments where I've been like, I was gonna say this, and I'm like, no, I'm reaching, and then only to realize that I was actually onto something. Interesting though, and having this more like melancholy sound, which I think linking between like Illusion and whatever Wave is gonna be, especially like the water sound, so Wave as well, but having a more like melancholy sound after how upbeat sonically Illusion was in contrast to the lyrics, right? So having something that was just very upbeat, fun, bright, and then having something that feels more melancholy, cinematic, a little bit more subdued in its sound with all these strings coming through is also really interesting. And saying open your eyes, wake up from this illusion. We had them all at the end of the Illusion music video, waking up in these different places. Some of them, not all of them did. I guess they were all, most of them were closing their eyes, but it was Seonghwa who opened his eyes at the end. Did we also get like a whisper? I should know this. I obsessed over it. I'm like this close to making like a conspiracy theory style board of everything, and I'm only like 2 narrative heavy videos in, so I'm trying to restrain myself from not being completely unhinged. But that being said, let's check out Wave lyric video first. I just had a moment where I remembered that this was in the Killing voice. It's fine. Not freaking out. I'm not too excited when I get to check out a new ATEEZ song. It's fine. I'm chill. Okay. What are we? No. Okay. It's fine. Focus. We must stay focused. Wave. Let's check out what this has for me. Fun, like muted string synth. My God. Ooh, okay. First off, Love that we're getting something that feels a little bit more in line with their regular sound, right? Like this in comparison to like Illusion, which is very clearly them like stepping outside of what I feel like their comfort zone was. And that was very like intentional for the narrative of the song and what they were going for in the music video. But I also feel like that was, again, them kind of pushing outside of what they've already done in their discography, right? I feel like there was a lot of that in there of it's okay for us to stay in this place where everything feels comfortable and fine, but it's not the same as us actually like spreading our wings and like finding something new. So I find it interesting that we're shifting back into some stuff that feels a little more in line, but like the vocals at the beginning, that little like yodel effect that we had, beautiful. Love the like slant rhyme that we had between the beginning of Mingi's line and the beginning of Hunjung's line. Love that to link it all together. Also, I love how quickly we're switching between who the vocalist is. Like we've gone through everybody. I'm pretty sure by the time we got to the end of this, right? I was like, we got Woo Young for 1 point. Anyway, I was like, head count. I was like, did we get everybody? But it, like, we go through everybody before we get into the chorus. And I think that's really interesting too, because not only is that very much showing this collective between them, right, as a group, but also like within the story, it feels a little bit more like we're kind of circling up together. Whereas before, I noticed in the Illusion music video anyway, we were like separated, and or at least in pairs, and then at least at the end of it we had a little bit more separation. So maybe that's something that we're going to be figuring out as we go through this. Everyone's off in different groups and we're still missing somebody. I'm pretty sure it's Woo Young, but we'll find out. But I think it's interesting to like really rapidly go through everybody. Everybody gets at least a line before we get into the rest of, get into the chorus. I think is really interesting too. But I think if we're going narrative, it may be showing that if they're not necessarily together, it's that they're all in the same headspace, right? Like they're all kind of thinking the same thing because they're all kind of finishing each other's lines. Is that a synth or like a vocal sample? Gorgeous vocal. But also still staying together. That's the part I remember from the Killing Voice. I was like, oh, this song's a bop. It's like tropical. But I love the buildup that we had. I find it interesting that we had the line that was, if I can go back, before this. Time is mutable. That makes me suspicious. That gets a little side eye from me if we're going storyline, because I don't trust that we've got a linear storyline going on. I definitely feel like we've got a lot other things. And I'm not exactly sure where everyone's at with all of that. I think there's some lighting things that they're cueing me into some of it. And I feel like in the Illusion music video, and again, I know we're going to get to more story stuff when I get to the music video, Jungho was one of the ones who felt like he was trying to navigate, right? Like we had him with the telescope and the binoculars, and it was like he was trying to see past the illusion more than everyone else, or he was like trying to actually see the real stars so they could navigate. I also find it interesting that we're talking about being in like the ocean. We had the island that we landed on before, and it's like thinking that you're like adrift, right? Kind of pushed forward by this wave. We're going with the wave imagery and just letting it push you forward because you want the momentum, right? We had all of the imagery of being stuck in illusion, and now it's about just riding that tide, riding that wave, and letting it take you where it may as long as you're still in motion. Maybe. We have hot sun too. We had blue sun before, so it's also an interesting contrast between those two things. Anyway, like just going on, supposed to like let me out in illusion. Yeah, like when you want to stop, just keep going. Ugh, San's voice on this though. What's up with that? Like he every once in a while, I'm just minding my own business, and then San gets to sing a line. He just takes my soul with him, and I'm like, hang on. I was just enjoying my life. Don't do that. To be fair though, going through KQ Fellows, San is a problem. I can understand. Okay, I get it. I understand that there's a progression as I get farther down the timeline of him being an ATEEZ. But him just like itty bitty in KQ Fellows, he does have all of my heart. It's the way it is. Anyway, focusing again. I kind of love how minimal this is because we had so much going on sonically in Illusion. So I like that this one is very much feels more victorious and just like letting the production breathe and having these like layered vocals up in the back, right? Like it's all of them kind of singing together. Again, this like feeling of collectiveness, even if they're not necessarily together when we get to like music video stuff, a much more uplifting, almost like victorious feeling. And them talking about going through the rough waves, right? And like I was saying before about how it's tough waves and just letting that momentum carry you. And we have them talking about like surging forward, right? So it's like this idea, as long as you're moving, as long as you're not stuck anymore, that's okay. Like even if it's like choppy waters, right? If there's waves, it's because the water isn't calm, right? You're not going through like easy, calm waters if there's a bunch of waves around, but it also means that you can let that momentum push you or drag you down, right? So it's, hey, as long as you're like staying afloat and you're letting that momentum pull you, everything's gonna be okay. No worries. So I love bringing that into this, and they're playing around with the lyrics and like repetitive sounds, and like the beat of those repetitive sounds is really fun, even switching between the Korean and English. I love the way that they're mixing those things together. And again, like having just like more of a feeling of victory, and we're still moving forward. That's all that really matters. We can deal with everything else. It's just not being too scared to keep that momentum. Like I was talking about just Illusion as a song outside of any kind of storyline things. It felt very much like them being like, okay, we've made it this far. Do we take another leap of faith? Do we just like see if we can try a new thing outside of our comfort zone, or do we stay put where we know things can work? And that's a really scary thing to get to with any kind of creative, right? Do you take that leap and risk it now that you have something to lose, or do you stay put and comfortable but never get to reach those heights that you always dreamed of, right? So this song feels more of them being like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to let the momentum carry us forward. And even if it isn't calm waters ahead, at least we're moving, right? It's just about continuing to move forward, even if it's just like riding on those waves, right? We're not sure where we're going to end up. We're just riding the tide and seeing what happens. So I really like bringing that into just even their story as a group, right? Because they do have something to lose now. They have success, they have fans, they have things that they've accomplished. And that's a lot different than when you're starting out. And it feels a little bit more, all right, let's just go for it. Let's just try something because why not? And then you get to a point where you get a good response to that and you're like, you feel an extra added pressure to be like, we need to keep our promise, right? So I think that it's really fun to have this added in. It still has this like upbeat kind of dance feeling to it, but with a very different vibe than we got in Illusion. Hang on, I'm just gonna, I need for personal reasons to hear San's vocal again. I'll bring that acoustic guitar into it. Like it feels more personal. Wait, I couldn't recover from the pit. No, okay. It's like the way he enunciated it too. Like he meant that. He like, let me just punctuate this. Sorry. Settled. Wait. Time out. I wasn't ready for that flip up. Mingy's having so much fun with his delivery in this. Like, I expect that from the captain, but Mingy's having so much fun with his delivery as well. And I think that it's also really interesting to have that kind of flip up in his cadence because we had all of the post on the vocals in Illusion, and that kind of gets this like strange kind of jump in pitches and notes and stuff just because of how post on vocals works, right? Like intentionally putting that filter on it. And I think it's really fun to have him doing that kind of flip in his vocals with a much like cleaner sounding vocal. There's a little bit of like reverb stuff on it, probably like compressors. We don't even talk about like the technicalities of like how post is used on vocals, but anyway, a much cleaner sounding vocal for him. So he's doing that flip up in the studio as opposed to a computer kind of correcting for that. So I think that it's really fun to have something that is harkening back to the vocal style that was accomplished in Illusion using post with just like the way that he's playing with his voice. I also really like that we're talking about like the island, which is something that we had in Illusion, but it's like we'll just find someplace, right? We're going to let the waves carry us and we'll find land again. Something that they bring up a lot is like finding this solid ground in the midst of their journeys, which I really like. There was like definitely something else and I got distracted. I got distracted by the vocal delivery again. More like frantically, I think is interesting too. Like this almost like hunger, right? After realizing that you had this moment of being unsure and being stuck, right? Mingy's verse in Illusion was about like seeing the stars, but there was on like a ceiling, right? And being stuck in this like circular repetitive place of kind of being contained inside. And so many of his lyrics are about like reaching heights instead, right? So I think that it's really interesting to have him talking about, all right, let's just keep moving, right? There's this kind of like frantic, almost like hunger to it, right? And him just being like, it doesn't really matter where we end up as long as like we just keep going. Yeah, are you ready to find out? To just be like, I don't know where we're going to end up. We're just riding this wave and seeing what happens, but it's much better than that feeling of like being contained within a space. I don't know if I can listen to the fish again. It took me out. I just wanted to see what his last line is because he sped up a little bit and we had the overlap with Mingy's part. So I want to make sure that I like properly got all of it. Interesting to say even more moving in groups, because we did have the pair ups in the Illusion music video. And then at the end, some people were on their own and some people weren't. We had the group of 3 that were together. And we also just say all the way back to Say My Name. Captain was on his own side quest at some point. Again, I don't know the timeline yet, but he was doing something out on his own. So I got my eye taking care of him. I gotta listen to the fish line again. I gotta listen to him again, okay? I love it. I like the clap in this too. I think it's just a fun beat. Fun synth in the mix too. Ugh, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, darling. I am. But I think it's really interesting with the mixing too. There is that like one higher synth, and even the vocals that we have, all the layered vocals, has this like rise and then draw back, right? It has this feeling of a tide coming in and out, which I think like having that kind of motion in it. And like I feel like the synth also has a little bit of it. I'm going to listen back, but having that kind of rocking feeling to even the vocals that they're choosing, I think is really fun too. This part. Like falling back again. Ooh, beautiful vocal rundown. Vocal. Hang on. I want to go back because we had some vocal in the back during Hunjung's part, which could have been him. And then Donggo just like went up. Hang on. Dang, vocals. I love, okay, so many things. I love that build up. I love the vocals that we were getting. I'm assuming Jungho was doing majority of those, given the quality of those belts, but I also love that it's this rise up, right? Not just because high notes are a great way of building up the energy of a song, but it's about getting over top of everything that's happening, right? So even having San's line at the end of go over the wave, right? We had the go, I think like through before. Hang on. Investigation. Don't worry about it. Okay, go over. We had go over the tough waves, but over the wave, right? Like we're like shifting some of the language. I don't know all of that exactly because I am trusting maybe a little bit too much in lyric video. I don't know the Korean. I'd have to look closer. But this idea of getting over this wave, right? So having this higher note that is sitting above everything else is a great way of just putting that into the storytelling. And I love that we got all the vocals coming together. So again, this kind of collective feeling, having the don't worry, love bringing that in from the chorus. This just seems like a flex. I know that we're comparing like Sun and all of that, but like no further comment on that line. And if this is our wave, don't be afraid. I love that. If this moment is temporary, right? A wave isn't meant to last. It is something that is like intimidating and powerful and feels like it's surging forward at you, but it is also something that lasts a moment. And if you can withstand it, then you're going to be okay, right? And even if you can like harness that power to propel you forward, that's even better, right? So I love this feeling of, okay, maybe we try, maybe we fail, maybe we're risking something in trying something new and not just staying put where we know everything's going to work out, or like we have a pretty good guess it's going to work out because we've already troubleshooted it, right? Instead, if we step out of that comfort zone and we try something else, that's okay. It's going to be scary because it matters, right? It's going to cause us to hesitate because we don't want to lose what we've already built, right? Because it matters. But in the same vein, it matters to keep moving forward and to see what else is out there and where we may end up if we try, right? If we don't take this moment that is temporary, where we feel uncomfortable, where we feel scared, where we feel anxious about what might happen, and we don't just treat it as like a moment, we're never going to reach all of those places that we wanted to get to in the first place, right? The reason we started this journey was to get to all of these other things. And if we just stay put, there's no chance of us getting to those. Whereas if we try, yes, there's a chance that we fail, but there's also a chance that we succeed. And we don't have that if we stay still. So I love bringing that in as well. Sticking your ground, but like continuing to have that momentum forward. And I love using wave for that, as letting the momentum that you're in continue to pull you forward and or push you forward. And even though it feels like you're giving up control, it's still better than being stuck and being still. And I love that imagery in contrast to illusion. I think that fits really well together. And again, it has this very celebratory feeling to it. And even though don't worry, being like, all right, let's just coast, right? Let's just stay afloat and see where the tide takes us, see where we end up. And again, like bringing in nautical imagery into it. Will there actually be water in this music video? Who knows? We're about to find out. All right, everybody settle in, everybody get ready. If you don't like pausing, get out now, because I'm very serious about this. More serious than I probably should be. There will be pausing, there will be rewinding, there'll be going frame by frame so I don't miss things, because I am thorough. All right, now I'm focused. I like that we have this little wave in the graphic. We had a fun little thing with the animation on the graphic with illusion. Loved that. Love that we actually have some water in a coastline, but I also think it's interesting that it's cutting in half, right? Coastlines are like liminal space to me, okay? It's not quite, you're like this place of like land and also water. Also, if you have tides, it's this unknown of where exactly the coastline is going to be entirely. So it's this feeling of a crossing between one point and another. So that does cause me pause, because we've had lots of moments of that previously in music videos, of like crossing thresholds and all of that. So anyway, let's just get into it before I get a little bit too intense. Again, two halves duality. This is where we left them before. Ha, was you in the car? Interested at the exact lineup shots. Ooh. Okay, several things. I like that we're already starting off like immediately afterwards. Beautiful, just like scenic, also light, like reflecting off of it. Took the headphones off. Am I like, looking too much into it? Probably. I wanted to see what you had in this car, because you have something hanging from the rear view mirror. That's actually what I'm interested in. Is it like one of those, what's it called? One of those like eye charm things? Like it's supposed to ward off bad luck? which would be interesting because we had the horseshoe in Illusion, but it was flipped upside down. Part of it's probably the coloring, but like interesting to have that. He doesn't need to look like that. For what reason? He's in the water and it's like more calm. Like he's not with the waves. And also we have the trees. Are you in like a pool or something? Which is like water, but not part of the ocean. What's that about? Wait. What do you have? Something about a picnic. Album. Cassette, of all things. Camcorder. You don't need to come that strong, sir. It's a fun move. Is it the set important? Wait, a couple of things. I know I'm interrupting. One, Miggy didn't need to come in that strong on this choreo, but I was thinking we have him with the pillar, right? Again, cutting the screen in half like we had with the water and even like the road at one point, right? So again, like splitting into two halves. So why are you, again, even like with the water, it seemed like he was in a pool, so separated from the actual like ocean. There's something separating you out. And I don't know what it is, but it's something. I'm trying to think if we had other moments where he was separated. And we had the cassette, and I was thinking with Crescent, we had the like radio noise. So is that maybe like a message that perhaps is either like the radio or on the cassette? There's something they're supposed to be listening for. We had Miggy with the headphones. And then was it San that we had with the camcorder and he was looking through? Did we have a moment where he had the binoculars as well? There was one point in Illusion where he had binoculars, so him like trying to see something? I love that little bit. It's so cute. And we had Wooyoung for the first time on his own. Yeah, where are you? And where were you before? Ooh, whoa. Like a trumpet? Is that also Seonghwa? We've had the horns and stuff and the megaphone, right? Like hala hala and stuff. Horns, brass definitely makes me think ATEEZ. Is that why you're separate? I'm suspicious of everyone because I'm like, I know they're doubles. I know there's like ATEEZ and then there's ATEEZ and I'm like, which one is which? And at what point? I only know if they had the hats on for sure. And we had, again, like I was saying, like we had Wooyoung who we didn't have before in the end of Illusion. I was also thinking in Illusion, there's the point where he like lights the match, which is fire. And we have all this water imagery, which is like contrasting elements, which I just think is interesting. I think too much about this. Cute. We went out a door. Thresholds. This is so cute. Mingy's having so much fun with this choreo, and I support him. Cutie pie, do not look at me like that, sir. Okay, I just want to let them be cute for a second. But I had other thoughts. We have Wooyoung, right? He's on the beach by himself, which, again, liminal spaces, coastlines, water lines. Why is he on his own? Why is he separated out? Because like Minky's farther back. We have like other stuff. We have a Dirty Dancing album? Fun fact, my mom owns this exact album. Like probably it's exactly the same print. My mom has an extensive album collection and it's amazing to go through because it's every single kind of music you could possibly think of. There's no theme to it. But we have headphones. We have a painting that's turned around. Paintings we had in Say My Name, and some of them were like distorted. And then we have, I think it was San who went out the door, liminal space. What is unplugged? Because this is on. So what's the plug for? I'm too invested, if you may be able to tell. They're cute, but I will not be distracted. Okay, it's just a cable. Just for like clutter's sake. I don't trust anything. And San's not on the bed anymore. So there's like a separation, and then he steps out the door. See, you're like smiling and happy, but you're on like a coastline. separated, and it's like enclosed. We have like rocks and stuff around it. We had Migi on top of that. That's such a cute move too. Wait though. Skate park. We had the graffiti on like the boat in Illusion as well. I don't know if there's anything to this. Noted. There's a little face in the back. Again, them creating a line. Lots of lines and like separations and stuff, right? Like the road, the line of the choreo, the pillar. All together now. Why do we have a couch? Ooh. Good use of that like wipe screen, but also like, again, a separation. I'm just seeing who's linked up together. So Hanjung, San, Seonghwa, you both have something going on. You definitely do. You're on some kind of quest. I don't know what it is, but you're off doing something on your own. You're trying to see something because you had the camcorder. And I don't know about you. Suspicious of you. Between like you having some kind of separation and the bracelet. Interesting to have a red couch. Color choice. I was gonna see this. See, like, San has the camcorder again. Look, it's just like being cute. I love how they're just like chaotic and blurry. And we also have, I know Captain probably because it's his part, and also because he, hang on, I'm holding my tongue. My initial thought was because he needs the height. I'm sorry. I take it back immediately. He's taller than me. I have no foot to stand on for that comment. I take it back immediately. I apologize. Again, the sweep screen, but like a separation again. Overlapping two things, so like maybe different timeline? One timeline is bringing the couch. I don't know, it's the same shot, but it's like slightly different. Why did you need a wipe screen to change the angle of that? But it's, ooh, wait, we got someone on this, we have what? You know, on the skateboard here and then not here. He's like further up, but we have an empty skateboard. Why did you need a wipe screen for that? And why is the angle different? For a very similar scene, but different. Again, different timeline maybe? Overlapping, similar things happening, but not exactly the same. Oh, I love that kind of passing down the movement. Wave. Ooh, dang, who are we stepping on? Ooh, we had a little bit of a rock motion to the camera. Ooh, wait, no, you were on the skateboard. Because you have a bit of a blue, like a dark blue. Didn't you have black hair? Hold, please. Where do we have his scenes? I'm not crazy. You had black hair here. So why do you have dark blue hair here? Yeah, there's something going on with him. Again, I don't know what. Is that why we had the weird wipe screen? Because you were the one on the skateboard with blue hair instead? And you weren't at the end of Illusion, were you? And you had black hair in Illusion, right? Am I remembering correctly? I'm suspicious. You have black hair here, don't you? Sorry, smiled and I got distracted. Ooh, cool spin to the camera. Causing havoc in this store. Look at the skateboard under the couch. Ooh, okay, I love that we have a skateboard under the couch. The like havoc of it, but also like a youthful feeling to it. Of the, again, this no worries. Love bringing that in. There's definitely something I love this whole image that we have. And the like pulling motion that we have like from, you know, over a shoulder. But we definitely have something going on. I feel like you two were paired up in some way. Because we also had Yosung with like on the side of the boat looking out at the horizon. He also had the binoculars, right? So again, like trying to see something, trying to see past something. I don't know for sure. Just all of the chaos. I'm sorry, but like this little smile of him being like, we're causing havoc. You're the captain. Mingy's having so much fun with this choreo. Hang on, I want to see who's on the couch now. Okay, so we have what? San now, but then we also have Jungho and Yosang paired up again. Or is it? Yeah, San. Trying to keep track of everybody. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep track of Wooyoung's hair now. Could it just be the lighting? Yes, it could just be the way that the sun is hitting it, that it's supposed to be like a blue and then it's black, but he was outside on the beach. So now I'm just suspicious of why his hair is different colors. We went immediately from him in the store and then cut to him on the skateboard. So I feel like I'm supposed to notice that there's a difference there. They could have color corrected it. And the empty skateboard's there. Like someone's missing. Sorry, I don't trust anything. I like that we're giving him head pats though. Deserved. The sassy pose we got going on. Anyway, I'm just trying to keep track. We got like the music player again. Music with Mingi again. What is Wooyoung doing there? Why is he kicking his feet? Who fell? Pretty. The silhouettes. The little like handshake. Ooh, that spit. I'm sorry. Look, what am I supposed to say, sir? You're like, I need to rise above. And that could also be symbolic to the song, but I also feel like we're making a statement of some kind. Why is San so aggressive? Anyway, hang on. I have other things that I want to talk about. So we have the music, but it doesn't have the cassette in it, right? So when Mingi had it, didn't have the cassette. When Hunjung has it, doesn't have the cassette. But when Jungho had it, there was a cassette in the room. I'm like, who fell? Is it? Okay, it's Wooyoung who fell over. I'm like, I don't know if that's important. I just want to find out. That's spin school. Feeling it. They're so cute. Ooh, love that pass off with the silhouettes. Yuna looks lost there. Fair enough. Interesting too to have the end where they're like together but there's distance, right? Like they're together but not really. Is it Mingi in the center? What does that mean? I'm trying to figure out who's on the skateboard when we have the skateboard shots. Is that probably me digging too much into it? Maybe. Sorry, I didn't go back far enough to fully get it. Okay, who has the black shoes with the checkers on them? And like different jacket. Is it San? So San is on the skateboard, at least in that one. What's San looking for with the camera? Because it's not always focused on the members. That isn't him though. That's Wooyoung. Is he the one who has the red pinky checkers? I'm very focused in. Just let me have a moment. Wait, I was like, I'm looking for shoes. Just give me a second. Yeah, I'm like, it's you, isn't it? So like San was on the skateboard, but then we also had Wooyoung. We had him on the skateboard with the like wipe screen that happened. Also, I think it's interesting that's like a wipe screen. It's like a racing something, maybe writing over something. Ooh, wait. Writing over something. Wipe screen. Cassettes. You can write over cassettes. You can tape over them. Camcorders. Same thing. with the old tapes, right? That you would have to put in like the VHS thing to put them in. You could tape over them. That's how you record things. Hold on, I just got chills. Am I onto something with that? Are we writing over something? And it has something to do with Wooyoung, maybe? Because again, he had the dark hair at the beginning, and then we switched to this like dark blue, and he wasn't at the end of Illusion. So were we writing over something? And is San involved with that? Because he has the camcorder, and he was also on the skateboard. I don't know. I also just want to see him be cute. See, who's this? I want to know who the silhouettes are. Hang on. I don't know their silhouettes well enough, but who are we passing off to? I want to see the formation before this. Formation-wise. Is it Seonghwa and Yeosang? No, it's who's behind Yeosang. But it does look like again, too invested? Yes. Let me be. Is it Wooyoung again? Wait, time out. I was like, okay, there's something weird with Wooyoung, and we definitely had a ATEEZ in Illusion. I was like, maybe that was him, right? Like maybe he was undercover, black hair, right? So maybe he was ATEEZ. And then there was the bracelet with the horn on Seonghwa and the separation. And then they point at each other here. I know it's supposed to be like a camaraderie thing, but we got the shadows, right? Shadow, dark side, right? Dark versus light, night versus day. And it's like sunset. And then they point at each other. Are they both ATEEZ undercover? Hold on. I'm too invested. Again, all of these are just questions. Please don't spoil anything in my comments. But that's one of my predictions. Those two are sus to me. And is that why they're like together but separated? Like there's a distance there because they can't trust each other. I'm also just seeing how it will line up. Does that mean anything? Which order they're in? I don't know. I'm resisting the urge to go back and look at all of the moments that San had his camcorder on. Is that what he's trying to see? Like one, to write over something. So if Wooyoung maybe was not there, like ATEEZ Wooyoung, but was ATEEZ Wooyoung, then maybe that's where we're writing over something. Blue hair, I'm assuming, is ATEEZ version, and then black hair would be ATEEZ because black, I associate that with ATEEZ instead. So wanting to write something over, and maybe that's part of it. We're trying to change, but then there's also Seonghwa, who seems to be doing something. I can't keep dwelling. We're probably here too long, and I'm probably already digging too deep into things. But my mind is turning because I feel like I figured things out, at least some things, that it makes me suspicious. Especially since at the end now we have the pink sky, which we had in Illusion, but it was like the fake world, right? Like it was part of the illusion was this like pink purple sky with the clouds. This is obviously not like the animated version that we got in that one, but it still makes me be like, maybe there's still an illusion there. Like maybe there's still like secrets. And again, that's why they're like at the end they're together, but they're not actually together. Like we have them here, but they're all like on that field or whatever with Mingi in the center. I don't know. I feel like I just want to dwell, and I don't know if I'm going to get anything further from this other than just minute details. Okay, I understand I said I was going to leave it, but I have more thoughts, okay? Just let me have this. One, that's Wooyoung in the middle, right? So what's that about? And then also this shot right here. He's got the camcorder. He turns, right? He turns with the camcorder. He turns. And then he turns in the direction that if they were in the same place, the camera would be pointed at Wooyoung. Coincidence? I think not. Anyway, I'm gonna stop now. I should stop. It's too much. Should I just spend a bunch more time going through a bunch of frames of that music video? Maybe, okay? I don't do anything halfway. But okay, thoughts. One, there's the one point where they're playing like basketball on the skate park place, and they're all together except for Wooyoung, who's off on his own. He's in a separate shot, and it's when he still has his dark hair. Suspicious. Also, there are multiple points where San has the camcorder, right? He's filming. It looks like he's focusing mainly on Seonghwa, which continues to make me suspicious. But there's also a scene where he has the camera and he turns, and Wooyoung turns away from the camera, and it's when he has his dark hair. Is that just something that happened? Maybe, but I do think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that he doesn't want to be seen on the camera in that shot. Also, there's a shot where we have the San on the skateboard, and then the shot that's like the camera's like underneath the skateboard. It's upside down. Again, flips, reflections. We've already had that with Wooyoung, and the next shot is with Wooyoung. So I'm just saying there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I could get out of this, and I'm probably in too deep, but I'm just picking out every single thing that I possibly can. I think I'm onto something with Wooyoung and Seonghwa. They make me suspicious. There's also, I feel like San and Jungho are really trying to figure out what's going on. I feel like they're trying to see through things and figure out what it is. And Jungho is keeping himself near Yeosang, which I think is interesting. I don't really know what to do with him yet, because he was on his own at one point in the Say My Name music video, so keeping that in mind. We have the tape, but Mingi and Hunjung didn't have it, but Jungho did. And those three were together. Remember, like Jungho, Yeosang, San. San went off on his own though. And it seems to have something to do with Wooyoung and Sunghwa. I don't know what the road is. Why is the captain on the road? Why is he running down it? And there's something with Mingi. Mingi's like on his own. He has the headphones. He was at the center where Wooyoung was, when Wooyoung was pointing upwards. And then we end with it being Mingi. So maybe there's something that's going to be going on with him at some point. I feel like, you know, was suspiciously not on my radar. And that just makes me like, be like, why? Why weren't you? Why do I feel like I didn't notice you as much? What's that about? Are you the navigator? I know that got written out at some point, but like still, you're supposed to be figuring out what's going on. I don't know. Fun song. I just pulled myself out of storyline mode. Love the song. I think it's super fun and upbeat. I think that it's a great like mirror image again of Illusion. I feel like they both are two sides of the same coin in a lot of ways. And I think that it plays off a lot of the stuff that they set up with Illusion so that they could specifically play off of that going into Wave, right? Like they could do specific things that were like in reference to what they were doing in Illusion, but do it in a little bit more of a genuine in line with who they are kind of way. And I think that's a really nice way of carrying the narrative forward of just like them as musicians, right? Stepping out of storyline. I think that everyone can understand being scared to take the next step towards something and like the unknown, and especially when you've built up a career enough to have a second comeback and you've seen some amount of success and now you have something that is like valuable to you that you can lose, and there's a lot more pressure there, right? Not just for you as an artist, but like the people that you're also working with around that, the fans of you, right? Keeping promises like they've talked about in their music before this. So I definitely like this as part of the narrative to be like, we're just going to keep riding this momentum. Like we're not going to think about where we land, where we end up, what like solid ground we end up finding next. We just know that we have to keep moving, because where we are, yes, maybe it's stable, yes, maybe it's dry land, but it's not what we promised. It's not what we wanted. It's not what we can see in that future so clearly. So we have to keep moving and worry about it later. Like we can sit here and worry what if, or we can just go and we can fix the problems when they show up. So I like just having that as part of their discography anyway, but I'm gonna have to let it be, okay? I'm gonna have to just let it go, because I will just sit here and fixate more. I can't keep doing that. So I hope you enjoyed listening to that along with me. You can click this playlist to go into my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so next time I post an ATEEZ reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.